Hello there, this is James S. Crafty, James1978, and as I explored in part 2 of this video series, lessons 1 to 4 on the Spirit Science channel were by far the most important, because, as I mentioned briefly, people need to draw the false dichotomies of us versus them, good versus evil, and what have you in their own minds, before being bombarded with conspiracy theories and information that would seem absurd to anyone else. Just as in the movie Inception, to give one fictional example, on the emotional and subconscious level on which unfalsifiable beliefs take root, people need to believe that they came to the conclusion themselves of their own accord, and after that point, once the line in the sand has been drawn in their own minds, it becomes increasingly easy for demagogues to introduce ever more absurd and unbelievable claims, because once tribalism has taken hold, any questions regarding the validity and accuracy of what's being asserted are all answered by the fourth premise of such unfalsifiable beliefs, the conviction that they, the other group, are deliberately manipulating the evidence and keeping everyone ignorant of the truth that only you and your fellow enlightened believers understand, solely to serve their own dark and malevolent ends. This, then, is the emotional and psychological basis of the fact that if you believe, then no proof is necessary, because instead all that's required is the conviction that they, the other group, are corrupt, evil, and the cause of the problem, thus making you the good guy by default. After 9/11, for example, people believed, and to this day continue to believe, the most insane, absurd, and bigoted lies about Muslims and about Islam, simply because they were angry, afraid, and the line between good and evil had been clearly drawn in the sand. Either you're with us or you're against us. If you're interested, then I explore this issue further in my old video Indoctrination, explaining how no one can ever be truly taught or raised to believe in anything, only guided towards believing through manipulation of the same tribalistic fear that they, in inverted commas, will destroy everything you value and change your way of life forever. And as always, the relevant links, including the links to the first 2 parts of this series, are listed down as the underbar. Needless to say, if you haven't seen those videos yet, then you're probably completely lost by this point, but assuming that you have seen them, then as I suggested at the end of part 2, the concept of male and female energy is a genuine masterpiece of propaganda, guiding viewers towards the emotional and subconscious belief that science, technology, rational thought, and the modern world are the cause of the problem without ever using the words, and that simply by rejecting and opposing these evils, you will become a being of light. Indeed, although there are some interesting points to discuss in the later videos on the Spirit Science channel, the truth is that after Lesson 4, either the tribalistic division between male and female, to use Jordan's own terminology, has been drawn, or it has not, and as I mentioned before, if it has been drawn, then the most insane and irrational lies are entirely believable because you are the good guys and they have been deliberately hiding the truth. So bearing that in mind then, people who believe will continue to believe all of the remaining videos for exactly the same reason, and the same thing goes for any other videos that Jordan will make in the future. Moving on though, in Lesson 5, after claiming that extraterrestrials have visited Earth, given advanced knowledge to a primitive tribe, and that the Sphinx was built by a highly advanced civilization thousands of years older than the ancient Egyptians, but that of course all other evidence proving the existence of such a civilization has been deliberately suppressed, Jordan asserts that our civilization is currently hurtling headlong towards the great shift of consciousness, which he mentioned in Lesson 4, the awakening, the dawning of the age of Aquarius. As we should have grown to expect by this point, the total non-sequiturs which Jordan put forward to try and justify his claim that humanity began waking up in 2012 are entirely meaningless, because they only matter if you want to believe what Jordan is saying, and the reason to believe what Jordan says in this video is that according to him, the last 2,500 years or so have been the sleeping phase of humanity, that the ancient civilizations which existed during our waking phase, in inverted commas, had a far far greater understanding of life, the universe, and everything. However, since the Greeks or thereabouts, we have been getting dumber, to quote Jordan, that everything we've developed and accomplished since that time is the result of our isolation and disharmony. Once again, the entire lesson essentially boiling down to science, bad, technology, bad, rational thinking, bad, monotheistic religion, and in short, the entire modern world, double plus bad. And in Lesson 6, The Flower of Life, he continues to appeal to those people who want to understand and have all of the answers, yet dislike, distrust, and even fear modern science and technology, asserting that a simple geometric pattern is the root basis of all reality, thought, emotion, consciousness, and creation, that quite literally, to understand yourself, humanity, the world around you, and the entire universe, all you have to do is understand this pattern and the other patterns which arise from it. However, in his own video debunking and dismantling spirit science, Cold Hard Logic demonstrated perfectly how like the idea that supermarkets selling halal meat somehow proves the existence of stealth jihad. People can find patterns and meaning in anything when they're already convinced that it exists. Once again, the link to CHL's full video is listed down as the underbar, and I ask everyone to please subscribe to his channel.
Now we get to arbitrarily decide what light looks like. How do I go about doing this? Basically, I just made some stuff up using some shapes that looked nice. I may as well have been playing with fuzzy felts for all the good it did. So how does the process of getting so much basic information wrong work in the context of sacred geometry? It all fits in with the Flower of Life, which we saw in earlier lessons, and I want to build upon it more. It's important as it connects everything together and is the blueprint for filling your head with nonsense. If we look at the repeating circular motif in the Flower of Life, we see that it looks just like a puckered anus. This is your mind's arse. My mind's arse is very active. I was talking to some friends and they gave me an amazing idea which led to some fabulous new discoveries. By mapping it into third dimension, we produce this shape, taking it to the next dimensional level of consciousness that mirrors our own existence. This is the cosmic ring piece. We see this pattern everywhere in multi-celled animals. The cosmic ring piece, when acting as your mind's arse, is the source of every crap idea that you or I have ever had. But there's more. If we take one of these shapes, which looks a bit like some leaves, we can ask ourselves, what would it look like in 3 dimensions? The most perfect shape is a circle, so if we rotate the shape through 360 degrees of a circle in 3-dimensional space, we get this. If we examine it closely, we can see that it's even more perfect than the shape we conjured up as the shape of light. It's perfectly smooth, and we can immediately see that this is the shape that would glide most freely through the cosmic ring piece. And every platonic solid fits inside it, allowing them all to pass through. Using sacred geometry, we have discovered the true shape of every nonsense thought that has passed through your and my mind's arse, or cosmic ring piece. I was blown away by this idea, but there's more. Thoughts grounded in reality look like this. Why? Because I say so. And they don't pass through your mind's arse. How do we know? It just feels right, doesn't it? We can see that the highest density of stupid thoughts can be achieved when they are packed with their points joined in beautiful 6-fold symmetry. You can see that if we choose any stupid idea, like light being a solid, we can make this our conclusion, and through any path of other nonsense we can arrive back at our conclusion and justify it to ourselves in the hippie thought space. It's a powerful concept, and one which produces no beneficial output whatsoever. If we take the path of crap ideas out of the Flower of Life, we can see that they line up perfectly as turd nuggets that would flow through the convoluted path of your mind rectum and through the cosmic ring piece of your 7th chakra. Putting the line of turd nuggets in a straight line, we see beautiful waves just like those we saw in earlier lessons. We can see that other, more densely packed stupid ideas can fit inside them, in perfect harmony, and so on at higher and higher frequencies, leading to an infinite density of nonsense thoughts. Crap ideas normally flow through the cosmic ring piece one at a time, but they can flow through at a much higher speed, with no gaps in between them, in a kind of mental diarrhea. This is how the Space Jews made it unchecked into a video. Back to the Flower of Life, we have points and curves. The points where the smooth thought shapes intersect are incredibly dense. We can see that they're connected to each other by nonsense thoughts. This pattern of nonsense thoughts also forms an interlocking pattern of cosmic ring pieces, showing the perfect synergy of crap ideas and the cosmic ring pieces through which they pass. It's an interconnected web of stupid ideas and arseholes, enclosed in perfectly circular reasoning. It may sound crazy, and it's just an idea, but I think this theory brings everything together and explains a lot.
See how easy it is? You can make any claim by prattling around with shapes, because you can simply assign whatever meaning you like to them. It's what children do when they play with shapes.
In his intro to Lesson 7, Dimensions, Jordan once again attempts to bait the curious, implying there are great rewards by claiming that the reason Leonardo da Vinci was such a genius was because he studied the flower of life and other, quote, sacred geometry as a Freemason, asking, is the flower of life, amongst other things, the secret information that the Masons have been keeping secret for the last 1,000 years? Once again, the promise of secret information, the idea that they, in inverted commas, are organising a conspiracy to keep us all ignorant is often enough to lead people who distrust science and authority to believe. But just to get all of Jordan's assertions regarding sacred geometry out of the way, his claim is that geometric shapes which have been assigned an arbitrary meaning and significance appear in nature, therefore all of the arbitrary meaning and significance which we assign to those shapes is proven to be correct. Well, excuse me, Jordan, but a woman's reproductive system resembles a shark's brain. Your argument is invalid. After introducing us to the equally unfounded concept of dimensions in that video, in Lessons 8 and 9, Jordan then introduces one of the great promises of this unfalsifiable belief, the idea that we can transcend this reality and exist in a higher state of being, not only making those who believe feel superior to everyone else, but promising escape from this bad, male, left-brained, science-obsessed world. I'm not kidding, he actually describes parts of one, quote, higher dimension as heaven and hell, and asserts as a fact that the heaven realm is where angels, yes, real angels, reside. But while the followers of atheistic unfalsifiable beliefs must be feeling pretty smug right about now because they have no such promise of a higher dimension or an afterlife, the point is that regardless of what the belief itself may be, followers of such unfalsifiable beliefs, by definition, feel innately superior to the world which they, the other group, are imposing upon humanity. So while things such as spirit science and young earth creationism offer life after death, the motivation for most people is the feeling of being part of the noble, righteous and enlightened group, untainted by the corruption of the other. On top of which, just like creationism, atheistic unfalsifiable beliefs fight to impose their worldview upon the rest of humanity, dreaming of creating their own heaven on earth, for lack of a less cliched term. So once again, to a greater or lesser extent, all such unfalsifiable beliefs are built upon the same four core premises which I described in the first video, linked down as the underbar. Before I conclude this video, however, I just want to point out the total absurdity of the claim that because science has proven lucid dreaming to be a real phenomena, they've also proven conclusively that astral projection, along with everything which people claim to experience while out of their bodies, are real as well, because according to people like Jordan, lucid dreaming and astral projection are the same thing. Checkmate, skeptics. Well, if that's the case, then purple unicorns who play the tambourine while riding unicycles are also real, because I can take drugs which cause me to hallucinate them, dream about them, or suffer a brain injury which causes me to see them. But wait a moment, I forgot that thoughts, emotions and what have you aren't created within the brain, even though neurologists can trigger them by stimulating different parts of our grey matter, because according to Jordan, thoughts and emotions exist in a higher dimension. Once again though, before followers of other unfalsifiable beliefs begin to feel too smug, the point here is the false equivocation, the claim that at least part of your unfalsifiable belief has been proven to be true because something else which is similar or loosely related has scientific evidence to back it up. And if there is any unfalsifiable belief which has never resorted to this tactic, then I honestly have yet to hear of it. Either way, I think that this will be a good place to leave the analysis for now, and although I fear that continuing this series after this point will be redundant, I will be sure to continue the analysis of Jordan's later videos in part 4.